Hello friends, and welcome back to Rock Paper Scissors Creative. Today is the first week we are starting our Days of Thanks Bible journaling series using the Revised Common Lectionary. If you haven't already, make sure that you have downloaded the kit. You can get that from www.rockpaperscissorscc.com and go ahead and print that puppy out and come back and join us. If you have, make sure you pull out the first card for the first week and we'll get started. This week, our scriptures are from Isaiah chapter 25, verses 6 through 9. We are going to head over to Psalm 24, the whole thing. Then we'll flip on over to Revelation chapter 21, verses 1 through 6a. But seriously, read the whole thing. It's fine. Context is everything at times. And then we'll flip over to our Gospel of John and read chapter 11, verses 32 through 44. Now, when we are approaching the lectionary, again, this is a selection of texts. We are jumping in toward the end of this lectionary cycle year. So we are finishing up, or I guess kind of tying up some loose ends before the new year starts with Advent. Remember, the Christian year starts with Advent, or the church year, if you will. When I am leading this type of study in a group setting, and this is true when you are in an individual setting as well, we take the scriptures one at a time. So we will write them down. Everyone's around the table. Everyone is as comfortable as they can be around a conference table. We're lucky if we are in by ourselves. Like for me, I'm in one of my favorite spots, which is my studio. I'm in my favorite yellow chair. For those of you who know me, you know how much I love this silly yellow chair. I've got some coffee with my favorite coffee inside, and I'm just comfy. I did not dress up for this video. It's been kind of a long week, to tell you the truth. So I don't know. I just told myself, Kristen, just get the video done. This is this is real life, people, right? So I have my card. I have read through the scriptures, and that's one of the things that I think is important. In a group setting, you're going to want to read them one by one and talk about them as you go along. When you're by yourself, you do whatever makes you the most comfortable. Personally, I like to read through all the scriptures all at one time, kind of as quick as I can. I like to get a good feel for the general direction of the scripture and to figure out, like, where are we going? What stories are involved here? I like to know perhaps, I guess, the mood of what I'm reading. And then when I kind of catch on something that I am particularly interested in, then I go back, and that's, and that's when I start digging in a little bit deeper. Depending on if you're with a group or with just by yourself, there are some questions that you're going to want to ask regardless. The first one is, during the first reading of the scripture, what stood out at you? Just right off the bat, this is kind of like one of those personality tests where you don't think about it too hard. Just what is popping out right off the bat. Then perhaps read it again. If you're by yourself, of course you have that luxury. When you're with a group, there's just time and space for quiet reflection as people start mulling and thinking, okay, what's going on in this scripture? What's stepping out to me? And then you share. But if you're by yourself, you don't share. I guess you could talk out loud. Nobody's here. Talk to your dog. And then with the next readings, you're going to want to ask, is there anything that seems weird to you or odd, or are you seeing connections from maybe one scripture to the other? Are you seeing a pattern? Sometimes there are patterns where There is a maybe like praise and then lament and back to praise again. Sometimes there's no pattern whatsoever. There's no connection. So you're just going to dive in wherever God is leading you to dive in. It's rare for me to read the scriptures and feel inspired to actually Bible journal on this at the same time. Sometimes that happens, but most of the time my best Bible journaling comes from after I've been away from it for a while. So I'll read them and they'll be in my head as I am working through my day. Sometimes it could be a couple days later. Sometimes it's just even later that afternoon. But it's, for me, I need space to process these, what I've read, right? So with this series, with this group for week 1, I was particularly attracted, I guess. What really stood out to me were the ideas in the Revelation text. So again, that was Revelations chapter 21, verses 1 through 6. And what stood out to me the most was this idea of God creating a new heaven and a new earth. And really there is this like renewing theme throughout all 4 scriptures, or like Jesus bringing back people from the dead in John, and him renewing a people in Isaiah. And so this idea of a new heaven and a new earth was very interesting to me. And so that's the scripture that I picked. I picked some products around my studio that I like to work with, and I got to journaling. And so I ended up with, I'll put it up on the screen now, with this earth with some stenciled and watercolored clouds. And I used the sticker out of the set that says, "He makes all things new." Now on the set, it actually comes with a bird attached to it, but I didn't want to use the bird, so I cut it off, and I'll use it somewhere else maybe. And yeah, so that is what attracted me, or like piqued my interest, caught my attention, however you want to say it. And so that's what I journaled first. And here, I'll show it. So this is my He Makes All Things New Bible journaling entry for week 1. Now, I can't wait to see what you are doing and what God is bringing to mind and what creative processes you're going through. There's a ton of resources on YouTube if you want to see how these kind of pages are made. I wasn't really going to focus on that this round, but I will, perhaps if you want to know, I could. But right now, the focus was on just the study itself. And so yeah, I think that's it from me today. And if you have questions, just let me know. You can leave a comment below. You can catch me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. You can talk to me in person if you run into me on the road, because I know there's a lot of you that I actually just do know personally at this point. And yeah, so I'm excited that you are going to join me. I hope to see you back here next week, same time, same place, and let's see what God has for us next week. All right, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.